Hey, what's up? It's me, Awesome Ali, and unfortunately, Raisa is not here with me today. She is actually starting university. So I am very pumped because we have an amazing interview for today. I'm actually going to be interviewing the founders of Speaker Slam, Canada's largest inspirational speaker competition. Can you believe I'm really pumped? These guys have some amazing energy, and I want you guys to match up by hitting the likes, the loves, and joining the conversation through commenting. So give a warm welcome to Dan and Rena. Woo!
Woo! Whoa! Thank you for the introduction, Ali. I am Dan Schick.
I'm Rena Robanelli.
And we are the co-founders of Speaker Slam.
Wow. This is going to be an amazing interview for today. So how are you guys doing today? Good?
We're amazing.
Yeah. We just had, and then we did a little video where we talked about our business. And so, yes.
We're on a high.
A good day, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to start it off with our first question, which is always, who are you and what do you do?
Who am I?
Tell them not from a philosophical point.
I'm a man. I am more than my labels. I am the co-founder of Speaker Slam. That's where I am. I live and die by that. But right here, this woman right here is the woman of influence of 2019. You're
like my biggest fan right now.
I'm her hype man.
So we run Speaker Slam together. We run emerging speaker training program. I run a charity called Platform to help empower homeless youth and marginalized women to claim their voice. I'm passionate about human connection. I blog about my tales of connection on the street. And I'm a mom to an 18-year-old daughter who is also starting university right now. So that's my story.
Wow, you kind of just demolished what I.
You are a man.
I'm a man.
Definitely. So, whoa, boom. So amazing. I'm glad to hear that you guys have an amazing energy, like a really strong connection. How did you guys meet? If business-wise?
Yeah, so me and Rena, we met actually at our Toastmasters called CSI Pitchmasters. And back in the day, I felt really uncomfortable speaking on stage. So I was using Toastmasters to kind of just work up the courage, get over my anxiety. And she was using Toastmasters to compete.
Yes, I love to compete and I love the challenge. And I joined the club on the night when they were having the elections for the PR person. And Dan was actually running, and I decided I was going to run against him. I was going to crush him. I was going to crush him. So we got into the competition, and we had to like fight against each other to see who would win. I thought I was going to win easily, but Dan ended up being like the funniest, most popular person in the club. So there was a tie. It's questionable if there was a tie. So they made us both co-VPs of public relations. We were the worst VPs of PR in the entire history of our organization. But we became best friends and eventually business partners.
Yeah, it was amazing, the connection we had from the very get-go. Yeah. Before we even became best business partners, we just enjoyed each other's company.
Yeah, ate a lot of jerk chicken, had a lot of chats.
Yeah.
Best memories over food, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, food really connected us in the very beginning. Yes.
Wow. So that's an amazing story. I love how you started out as competition, but then grew to become business partners. You have a comment. Robert J. Moore says, "Hello, Ali, Ben, and Rena. Speaker Slam, you all rock." Thank you, Robert.
That's a smart, perceptive fan already. I love it.
So why did you guys decide to found Speaker Slam, or how did it come to be?
Well, the way Speaker Slam kind of came to be, at that time, I was on my personal journey. We're taking a lot of self-development courses, and one of them being Landmark. And Landmark is all about creating, getting over your limiting beliefs. And so one of their programs, the SELP, Self-Expression Leadership, they asked to create a community project. At that time, I was really shy, but I had to follow what the program said. And there was only two communities that I was involved in at the time, which was Stand Up and Toastmasters. And so I just started reaching out to people to connect with them, to collaborate. A lot of them said no.
They were kicking themselves.
Yeah. And the reason, like, there's many reasons as to why, but it's always the timeline type of thing where who says yes and is ready to go. And this woman said yes, and she's like, let's just do it. Let's just do and see what happens. So we ran a small communication workshop, a debate workshop for our Toastmasters group. And it went well, but what it did was it got us started. It got us seeing how we work together, and we were just like, let's figure out what we can do together. And we went to a speaking event that was being run by our friend, and when we were there, we just had the epiphany, like, we can do this. Like, we could run an event. We can create something cool and exciting. And I said, to differentiate ourselves and make ourselves different, why don't we just do a competition?
And I love to compete. And the minute he said that, I was like, oh my God, Speaker Slam. And it was born. And it just took off from there. Like, very quickly, within a month or two, we had the venue. We had amazing judges. We had Farley Flex, who was the Canadian Idol judge from way back when. We had 10 competitors. We had 100 people show up on our opening night, and it just exploded.
Wow. So how do you think you've been through the beginning days of it? Like, then you said you were a very shy person. How do you think Speaker Slam has helped you since then?
How has Speaker Slam helped us since, like, in our personal lives?
Yeah.
For me, Speaker Slam basically gave me courage, gave me an opportunity to connect with people that I would have never connected with. It gave me purpose. It gave me reason to basically get up, join certain programs, certain things, connect with certain people that I would never really have connected with. Yeah, that for me, that's what it did.
And I think, like, we've since quit our jobs. Like, we both had corporate jobs which we quit, and we're doing this full time. It's like our whole heart, soul, and passion. And we've been able to keep creating different components of our business to keep growing. And it's just given us a purpose.
I would have never thought I would be doing what I'm doing. I went to university to be in information technology management. Going to be in the IT world. I was going to, like, that is not where I am at right now. And it opened doors that I really didn't prepare for through university.
And I like how you said it didn't prepare you for the things at university. I'm sorry, can you guys hear me properly?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, audience, if you're watching, please let me know if you can hear me properly. I'm getting some feedback from my end, or don't know what's happening here. But since then, you see how university didn't really prepare you for them. Well, when you jumped into the unknown, how did you develop the skills that were needed to allow you to get to where you are today?
It's funny. I think when we came into our business, we each had skills. So Dan came in as a business analyst, and he's very process driven. So everything in the back end of Speaker Slam is all about processes. And I came in as an entrepreneur and as a speaker. So I was able to bring in a lot of my skills in terms of marketing and just the operations of running a business. So we kind of collaborated. We really fit like two pieces of a puzzle. Like, we really have completely different skill sets. We're also both passionate about marketing. So, like, we put a lot of our energy into that, but all the bases have been covered since we got in.
And one of the things that I love about Rena is her wisdom, her experience from the past. She has run multiple businesses in the past, and she had all the know-hows to get over problems or situations that would normally be considered adversity but like, as a first timer, she made things a lot easier for me to transition and get over those fears. So she's not only been my business partner, but my mentor and best friend. So
oh my God, you keep hyping me up. Okay, so I have to say, Dan is the technological genius. So all the audio, all the tech, all the backend, the website, like all of those things I had no clue about. But voila, I got the dream partner.
Nice.
So actually, I like how you hyped Rena up so much. I actually want to get to know Rena a little bit about your story more and how the experience was when joining a first timer in the business world. No offense, Dan. What kind of how that experience was for you?
I think because this was a new business for both of us, we were both kind of out in left field, just hoping it would work. And we had the opposite complementary skills. So when we just jumped in, like Dan's a performer. He was in improv. He's very funny. He would jump on stage and be crazy. I just loved. He was adorable. So like we were able to play off each other. We've always had great chemistry. And even though he was new to being an entrepreneur, he is obsessed with learning. So like every day he's reading a new book, he's researching, he's like doing the work, he's watching YouTube videos. So like he's like our constant source of like upgrading in our business because that's his passion. So I've never felt like I had to carry the business if we've always been equal partners.
Just the entire year prior to coming into Speaker Slam, I was on this journey of learning. So I read like 100 books in that year, and at that time I didn't know why I was reading 100 books, and a lot of them were marketing books. But what it did was prepare me with all this wealth of knowledge that I got to apply stuff towards, and it worked.
You know, I want to say that's really important, I think, for anybody that's watching, is that whenever you're starting a business or a project, there's a sense of an imposter syndrome. And I think with Dan, that really came into play in the beginning because you feel like you're kind of faking it till you make it. And one day you turn around and you realize you're not faking it anymore. You've made it. And I think we've had so many successes, so many great shows. We've just had so many speakers have great success that one day Dan realized, like, I'm not faking it. Like, this is my job and I do it really well. So like, you just want to have to push your way through and then you're going to end up where you need to be.
Wow. That was amazing. I definitely relate to having that imposter syndrome, especially when I was trying to figure out what I'm good at for speaking when it comes to speaking. Like, what's my topic? What am I going to get my PhD in, you know, for this topic? Okay. Study it for the 12 years. What's that going to be? So I definitely can relate to that. And in the beginning, really, I want to go back to that. What sort of challenges came up in the beginning days of Speaker Slam? One of them being imposter syndrome. What else did you find? What was kind of holding you back at the beginning, or was an obstacle?
Do you know what's funny is that very early on in our business, like after the first year, we tried to do a top 5 failures and we really struggled. You know, sometimes when it's meant to be, it works. And from the day we started, we've had just so much success. I mean, we may have had 1 or 2 little glitches here and there. I mean, one time the DJ canceled last minute, or like we've had the odd, like one time the venue double booked us. But I mean, there were tiny, minor challenges. Aside from that, everything has been super simple for us with this. Maybe Corona.
This is probably the biggest challenge.
Corona's been our challenge.
But I think if in the grand scheme, if we're looking back, like in those moments, those challenges might have seemed big, like a venue double booking us, and like after we've already marketed the event, and then it's like, oh my God, we don't have a venue. We have to change dates, and it looks unprofessional, But like looking back, it's like that was just a challenge. Not with all the experience, know what to do. We always have backups, contracts. But like it wasn't the biggest challenge. But in those moments, they do feel like big. It's all about just finding solutions and getting over it.
That's the absolute thing, is like, I think keep your head about you. Every time there's a challenge, you just come up with a solution and keep moving. You don't get overwhelmed or bogged down. We've never had a challenge too big that we couldn't come up with a solution for.
Yeah. We have each other. Sometimes if I'm feeling something, she's a great place for wisdom, and vice versa. Like we'll talk solutions.
Yeah.
Well, and what would you say was the reason why Speaker Slam blew up so fast? Like, what would you say is your unique thing, or the moat that's surrounding Speaker Slam that makes it the unique thing that helps people, when they win, become the TEDx speakers and the paid gurus, you could say, of the industry?
My answer is going to be like consistency. One of the things that Speaker Slam has done that I don't think anyone's kind of replicated at all is a consistent monthly event, same time, same place, over and over. That's how we built a community. That's how we kept getting 100 to 200 people come to our events every month. Most people, when they run an event, they do it once and they're like, poof, we're done. Like that was stressful, we're gone. But one of the big, like, and that's what I thought when we were first starting off. We were just gonna do a one-time speaking competition and we're done. But Rena, she's like, we already did the work. We got the process, we got the branding, we have the templates. This should be a piece of cake to do it again. And she was right. Like, we did it again the following month. Within a month, we had another event. And then slowly we just became a monthly competition. And what I loved was people got to come out and hang out with friends. People connected. People started dating from our events. Like, when you run a consistent event, a consistent product, you just get better at it because you improve slowly. But over time, the product just increases over and over.
And so I would say that the biggest part of our success is that we just hit on an untapped need. And when we started our competition, it was about being a speaker and competing, but we would have themes. And very quickly, we learned that inspirational speaking there was a void, there was a need for that. It was something new that we were creating. I'm not talking about being motivational like Anthony Robbins, who gets up and tries to motivate you. I'm talking about people sharing a story and inspiring the room with their stories. And it caught on fire to the point where people fell in love with it. So sometimes you get that secret sauce and it just works. And I think that was the secret of our success.
When you see people in the audience crying over someone's story and how powerful, and they're just rooting for that person because they connected to them, that was a whole nother level of like you've never seen a speaking competition like that. It was always based on skill and whatnot, but that's where we discovered we are an inspirational speaking competition. That was our purple cow, and it really just took off.
Wow. So I like how you said that it's not about the motivation and the skill. It's about how people connect to the speaker. It's not about their skill. It's about the connection there, which I really love there. And I think when they have that unique or that purple cow that you said, when that person in the audience is crying, you know that you've done a bigger impact if you've been able to connect two random strangers to one common thing. So would you say, what has been one of your favorite parts so far in the lifetime of Speaker Slam? Like the journey of it. Has there been a favorite part or a turning point for you guys?
One of my favorite parts was, I remember Rena, we met up at like a cafe and she's like, Dan, why can't we have our own office? Why can't we quit our jobs and do this full time? And she really like pumped my head. Like I didn't think I would ever leave my corporate job to do something where I'm not getting a consistent paycheck. And so with that in mind, she had this like amazing quote. Do you remember that quote? It was basically, what is your worst case scenario?
Yep. The quote was, if you quit, what is the absolute worst thing that can happen to you? And then if you think of it like that, then you're actually living your worst case scenario right now. And the reality is that, oh my God, I am living my worst case scenario, because worst case, I could just get another job like I have right now. So we both sat with that and decided.
So when she made the decision to quit her job, and she put in the letter, and we just had our event, No Risk, No Reward, I just remember going into the my workplace, and I didn't want to work there anymore. I hated putting my energy there when I could have put my energy somewhere else. Why be a trout on the road when you can be a trout on the stream? Like, that's how the quote works, right? And so I jumped in, and we had just announced to the people on our stage that we're going to have 500 people at our Grand Slam. And at that time, our maximum was maybe 180, 200 people. It was a big commitment, and we were quitting our jobs to make that dream happen. And I remember when we did get 500 people at the Grand Slam, when we were about to open the show, there was this moment behind the stage right before me and Rena were going to go up. We held hands and we said, like, we did it. And it was just this very touching moment before we went up on stage, and there's this like whole hype routine.
It was a
dance routine. And it was like a very special moment for me because that was the moment that was like, I made this happen, like this dream that she and I shared, and we did it. And we didn't know what was going to happen afterwards. We just knew we got 500 people at the Grand Slam, and we figured it out later.
So I think my favorite moment, it came right after when we decided to quit our jobs. And we were just sitting actually at my place talking about our business, and we got a call from Goalcast. And they are like a huge online platform with like 12 million views. And they decided they were going to take one of our speakers. And we were screaming. We were dancing around.
We literally jumped up. Oh my
and afterwards, that speaker went viral and had 30, 40 million views on her video. And that was really the catalyst for our entire success, because the minute we had the ability to take people and help them go viral and make massive impact with their speeches, it just made our business go crazy.
And what was crazy was then they started taking our speeches every month. And every week we started seeing anyone who took our stage would go viral. All of a sudden, virality became like super easy through our platform, and the numbers kept growing, and yeah, like people kept hearing about us, and the business itself was booming.
Yeah.
Wow. So quitting the job, that's the favorite part in the Goalcast. So what advice would you give to an entrepreneur or a YouTuber who's trying to jump into something without that certainty backing them? On entering uncertainty, how did you guys conquer it? You said the worst case scenario, what would happen? I could get into the job. How did you feel after that? Were you like anxious, like, oh my god, I can't believe I just did that, and the adrenaline just took you up all the way? Or like, what tips would you give to an entrepreneur?
Well, I would like to say stay in school. Like students, right? Like we shouldn't be encouraging you to quit. However, I love the quote, leap and the net will appear. I love that quote, leap and the net will appear. So a lot of times, you're passionate, you want to do something, you've got to just take that step. And people spend so much time as perfectionists. They need the perfect website, they need the business cards, they need the business plan, they need the money. No, we started with nothing. We had no money, we just started with the dream and the vision. And every time we stepped, the net appeared. Like we just kept taking a step, quit our jobs, the virality happened. All of a sudden, said we're going to make 500 people at Grand Slam. We had 500 people at Grand Slam. We said, let's start a training program, announced it, and we made it happen. So it's take the steps, just keep moving forward, and don't be held back by imposter syndrome. Don't be held back by perfectionism, and just trust that's going to work out for you.
For me, I love calculated risks, and like leaving my job or quitting part-time school. A lot of that came with when I did Speaker Slam, I was still working part-time doing my job. I didn't just quit my job. I did this consistently for 2 years before making that leap.
You got some really good advice from business people who were in a similar business to us. And they said, don't leave your job until you have business in place to support yourself. So a lot of people just like throw everything away completely. But we kept our side business and we made sure that we could create an income before we did leave. Yeah. So I guess to my point, like I'm saying, jump in, he's saying take calculated risks. It's somewhere in the middle. It's just making sure that you have the business there before you and then taking the steps you need to take.
Wow, I definitely, that's a right there. I think today definitely, if you're an entrepreneur, just quit your job and start a business right away where good to have that job where you can take some of the money to fund up your hustle to the point where your hustle will take your job and then you can quit because you have a stable source of income there.
Yeah.
The next question I have for you is, what are 3 or 4 crazy habits that you guys have? Then I know you're really adventurous, so do you have any unusual habits that you would say are crazy?
Unusual habits.
Unusual habits. So for me, I don't know whether this is a habit, but this was something that like I used to do when I was in my 20s. I early 20s. I remember feeling like I wasn't doing much with my life. I was like going to university, playing video games, and like just like a standard go home, chill. And so since I didn't have a lot of experiences in life, I remember just reading How to Get Outside Your Comfort Zone. And in it, it said, go skydiving, do something that is like so out of the norm for you. And so I booked it. I didn't tell anyone about it except my dad who drove me there. And from that experience, I started doing more of that. Like I wanted to finish my bucket list by 25. And doing all those things, not only at a young age, allowed me to get outside my comfort zone, feel okay with fear and doing things. And it was, in my mind, it was all still safe. Like, and so traveling and doing all that before I turned 25, it gave me experience that I didn't have when I was 20. And then by the time I finished my bucket list, I was like, what else? Like I needed a deeper meaning, purpose in my life. That's why I was taking all those self-development courses. And it just kind of led me to this path. So for me, my unusual habit really is this need for getting the uncomfortable done. So that way,
I would say for me, I don't know how unusual, maybe it's unusual. I go to this website called futureme.com, and you can write a letter to yourself in the future and it emails it to you at a specific date. And it's free. I do it all the time. Like I'll write a letter about my goals or my vision or my dreams, whether it's for love, health, business. And I just keep putting them out there. And I think it's almost the practice of like manifesting, because you get the letter back in 3 months or a year and you think, oh my God, I've accomplished almost all of this. So it's just the habit of putting something in writing and putting it out there into the universe and getting it back.
Wow. So you kind of have a vision for yourself that you can email it. Yeah. I like that actually. So do you guys have a business must-have that's under $100 with that? Whether that's a snack that you eat before you go on stage, or something that you have to juice you up for an interview like this. Do you have something like that?
Our business must-have is jerk chicken.
Yeah, we must have jerk chicken in order to keep ourselves sane. In seriousness, before every show I meditate, and so I use this app called Calm. I journal in an app called Journey. They're all cheap, but like if I get rid of all the thoughts in my head, I can be super present in the situation where I can show up as authentic, as connected as I can be.
I would say something similar. Like I'm on Audible and I read a lot of personal development books. And I think that it's important in anything in business, like, and I know both Dan and I read a lot of business books. It's like you have to constantly keep on inspiring yourself. So like you go to a limit unless you can see a bigger vision. So it's constantly reading, seeing what other people are doing, pushing yourself to be the best version of yourself. And then that's when you bring the most creative energy back into your business.
Do you have like a favorite book that you've read that you think has made a tremendous impact in your business? Like whether that's one book, Dan, you read over 100 books in a time period. Reno?
It depends. Are you asking for a business book or a personal development book?
It can be, one could be business and one can be personal development.
Okay. I read Anthony Robbins' Personal Power, and that was the first time I ever read a personal development book. And in it, it just basically told me I didn't have to be the person that I am now. I could be someone else. I just have to change my focus and like think of thoughts. And it was a great introduction to NLP, and it just really put me on a path of like for self-development. So that was one of the good books. Is there?
I think I was just thinking of so many, like the eMyth platform, but I would say my favorite book to date is called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And I just loved it. There's a few powerful principles. And one of them is beginning with the end in mind. And always stays with me. It's always just, if this is where I want to go, and if I envision it clear enough, I can work towards it. So I think it's a powerful book.
In terms of a business book,
Mm-hmm.
How to Win Friends and Influence People is the best business book you could ever read. The biggest thing I got out of that was listen. Like, oh my God, like so many people love to talk, but if you're just a listener, you can absorb so much knowledge out of people. And yeah, it's just very powerful.
Rena, same book?
Oh, I would say one of the best business books, I would say Traction.
Oh.
Yeah, we were working through Traction because it sort of shows all the operational parts of running a business, and if you want to grow and you want to scale, because a lot of times you throw everything out there and just see what happens. But we were working through that book together. Look, we like to take on books as a project at times and sort of work through what's important, and just starting to kind of look at the tactical moves that we had to make to grow our business effectively. So I think that was a good one.
Well, actually, I kind of like how you said you worked through it together. What did you one of the last questions I would say? What do you think keeps your connection so strong throughout this business?
Our connection's so strong.
Yeah, it's
You said what makes it so strong?
yeah, it's our connection. Really, I really enjoy our company. We can spend hours just chatting. I've pulled days with her for like 8-12 hours, and it's time flies, and I never feels like work.
We're funny.
Yeah,
We're very funny people, and we just sit and laugh for hours. That's the secret of our success. People will always. It's funny because I'm 17 years older than Dan. People will always used to ask us, "Are you two a couple?" Like we just have such great chemistry that people. I would think we are the oddest looking couple, but people would just imagine it because we're always laughing, we're always happy. We have the same kind of down to earth personality. So we just, I don't know, we got lucky. We just we fit together.
All right. So in the proximity of each other, we just make each other laugh. Energies just align.
Yeah.
So this is the last bit. Do you guys have anything you want to promote for your upcoming competition? Actually, happening the 19th, I believe. Is it?
Yeah. So right now, since COVID happened, we moved our competition online, and so we are globally accessible. And the last competition of the year before we go into our Grand Slam, where all the winners come back, is on the theme of self-worth, and the deadline is September 19th. We are also starting a Youth Speaker Slam, which will be happening in March 2021. So if you know any youth that want to get into speaking, send them our way and to connect and take them there.
Perfect. So if you hear that, make sure to like, comment, and share this post. Let me know, and you reach out to Speaker Slam, Dan and Rena here, for them to be able to share their story, their experiences on a stage, and then maybe even get featured in a Gold Cast video down the road there. So this was an amazing interview. This was presented by AXO. Awesome people shaping our world. Remember, you are awesome, and you can make the world a better place. Bye.